All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Oregairu, Season 1, Episode 12. The cultural festival is underway. And many interesting interactions have taken place.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Hachiman, you are an incredible specimen.
Yes.
A very specific specimen.
A wonderful main character that frustrates me to no end.
Yep. And Yui, I'm impressed.
You go, girl.
I'm impressed.
You go.
It's not going to work, but you know, I'm impressed.
Damn it, don't.
There's this aspect of like me that wants to see her in the berserker armor with like struggler. Yui forces.
God damn it.
Yui.
It does kind of work though. Yeah. But we also had the interactions between Hachiman and Yukino. Those were definitely not at all interesting or anything. And that's not even getting to the interactions with Haruno. And then there's the whole thing with Sagami of her being in the bathroom stall and all of that. So there's still 2 episodes left in the season. What's going to happen?
Everything.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like one of those like festivals where it was like, on that day the school received a grim reminder. You know?
Indeed.
It's gonna be a bit crazy. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Y'all,
damn it.
This show is fantastic.
I love this show. This episode was so good. Like even just thinking back on it, I'm like, favorite part.
There are a lot of really good parts in this episode.
Yeah.
So we basically had the finale, as it was basically for this section of the arc.
But there's still an episode left.
There's still an episode
in the season.
left. So what I think this is kind of the thing of where, you know, this is adapted, material and stuff. So we just finished the equivalent of a
one of the light novels.
Or a light novel or whatever.
Right, yeah.
But
I'm guessing this was probably the second light novel.
Right, but the big thing that we got in this episode was we've had now, I would say probably by the rules of 3, a repetition of a set of circumstances that led to a typical ending, and yet all the characters in this case are vastly different than where they were, or our understanding of them is vastly different from where they were at the previous 2 times.
Right.
So, going through this episode chronologically, Komachi showing up.
Wild Komachi, and it's great.
A wild,
just little hurricane that comes through, and
is
it's
just
awesome.
Wonderful. As is fun. Little thing that I'm just going to make sure is not just a motif in some way, because I now actually wanted to bring this up a couple times. But you see this little picture of this panda here?
Oh, yeah.
The arrow pointing directly at Hachiman.
Oh.
So there's some things about pandas that I could go into, but I want to go into later if there's a thing about him being basically akin to a panda.
I think that's just a thing saying, like, a thing with the class 1A is this way.
Yes, of course it is. Right. But I'm saying that there's a reason why they chose to have it here at all.
Yeah.
It's
and I think there are some things we could potentially glean from that.
Yeah. But I don't want to go into that. There's so many other things I want to discuss. I just wanted to say that as hey, I noticed a thing, because also
putting a pin in that kind of
because also in the OP there's the actual little journal thing that
as
Yukino has, but it has a panda on the front. I just wanted to bring that up. All right. So Yukino and Hachiman spending some time together. There are no cliche jokes about him being a pervert with a camera or something like that, which is actually very, very, I'm very happy to see that. But what we see here is a little bit of Yukino's vulnerability. She is finally admitting
Haruno.
Right, but she's actually admitting it in front of Hachiman.
Right.
Which means that in some ways she considers Hachiman not just an ally in this whole thing of her being like at war with Haruno in some way.
Indeed.
But she is actually like sharing deeper things here.
Yep.
And there was no there was no precedent for it.
Right. And there was
it's amazing. And then
it was straightforward. It wasn't like eventually we got to this point. It was just she sees Haruno, directing the band, and
matter-of-factly
starts talking.
Yep.
Which maybe
like her.
Maybe it might be something where it's because Haruno's not around, because Haruno isn't privy to this conversation. Because usually when they when Haruno is brought up, it's because she's actually presently
exactly, which is different than her being observed from far away.
Right.
I wanted to bring up, though, the different tenses here. I hope there's no translation issues, but she says, I'll have you know I rate, present tense, my sister quite highly. I wanted to be like her after all. Basically saying, past tense, I wanted to be like her.
I don't anymore.
But I still rate her highly.
Yeah.
This is the difference between someone having your respect without you trying to emulate them.
Sure.
Now, the problem is that, as Haruno has stated, that's not necessarily the case.
Well,
she might still actually want to be kind of like her. But when we actually had her ask Haruno for help later, there was that instance of where you could see that Haruno maybe hasn't been seeing how much she's grown in the last little bit.
Yeah, that is potentially very much the case. And, there's also the whole thing of Haruno potentially playing the heel.
Oh, yes.
With Yukino in order to get her to grow and become her own person and stuff. And how much is Yukino aware of that?
Right.
Who's to say? Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get the fact that Sagami is missing. And I'm so glad that it didn't end up being something really, really, really bad.
Yeah, because in a lot of ways, I feel like that wouldn't make sense for Sagami, because she doesn't seem like the kind of person who is even fully confident enough in herself so that if she were to be feeling down, that she would entertain those thoughts with enough, like, give them enough, like, space to actually decide that was something that she was feeling. Like, hence being on the roof, but just sort of gazing out into the distance, and then, our friends come up and Hachiman calls out the whole thing of you want them to say these things to kind of still build you up even in this state.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a unique thing, Hachiman. Like, no. I'll just say, like,
that's why I was able to recognize it, probably.
Well, right, but just him recognizing it between the two of them, it's not even anything special. Like, the idea that he put her as, like, the lowest stratum of society, I can't wait to tear that whole thing apart, because it was effective, but there's so many things I can tear into with it. So, before we get into that, we get the surprise saviors of this whole thing in that not only will they sing an extra song, the new group for the, I believe this is for the general performance.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe there's multiple, like, classes or, like, yeah, this is probably just a class thing where they, some of them do a band thing because why not? Whereas, like, what Haruno was directing, like, an actual, like, club, you know.
Yeah, but this kind of a general thing led to then Yukino getting the idea of, okay, I'm going to rely on Hachiman to help me out with this thing there if I can play my part. Cool. I am now fulfilling that role as being the supporter in this whole thing without taking charge and making sure that everything has to go a certain way by leaving it to someone else like Hachiman.
Oh, yeah.
And then, in addition to that, the way I can take charge is I go to my sister, the one person who actively frustrates me about this whole thing, and command her to help me with this being this is an executive community committee decision, right? And and the way even Haruno's like, ooh, I like this, like I'm gonna play into it, like and what would happen if I say no, and then she's like, I can give you a favor,
right? Which, if you think about it, this is going to show how Yukino has grown, because the old her wouldn't have done this, even if it was the thing that would have been helpful, because of her feelings regarding her sister, right? But given the fact that this is the case, and this is also a way of her, I almost feel like it's her preemptively getting out in front of it, because since she's the one that's going to her sister rather than someone else mentioning, hey, your sister might be helpful right here, then it sort of, it's acknowledging her own emotional vulnerabilities regarding the matter and dealing with them, right, in a creative way that is the word escapes me, but basically her actively dealing with it.
Also, I wanted to bring up something here that kind of shows Haruno's true nature here in a way that I don't know how deep the writing is sometime in this show. But sometimes I think there are times when shows give me hints that they might actually be, like, the dialogue is so crafted that it gets down to a point where these specific things are chosen to go a certain way.
Mm-hmm. And there's like more layers than you can even like fully go through.
Well, no, the layers that I'm bringing up are usually like, it's not necessarily proven to be this way. It's just my own interpretation.
Sure.
But the fact that Yukino is like, I've got this. I've got a plan. We look at the guitars to say, this is what it's going to be. She's going to do this thing with the music. But she says, help me out, sis. Now, I will just say, as an older sibling, I've had moments where members of my family, younger siblings, have come to me and be like, I need your help, Caleb. There's not a request, would you please help me? There's not a, like, would it be okay if you helped me with this thing? It's just help.
Statement.
It's like the tasukete, basically.
Right.
And I'm like, yes, immediately. I don't ask the question as to what it is. Look at how she responds here. Haruno, help me out, sis. Oh, wow, sure.
She's already there.
Already there, immediately. She's like, yes,
right,
absolutely. But her first thought is, oh my God, like, did she just say that? Like, her initial thought is, I cannot believe my ears right now.
Right.
And if you contextualize that with, this is the first time you've ever asked me for help. Okay, do you know what that means, y'all? In her entire life, because this is something that's weird about siblings, is we remember a lot of very, like, specific things about siblings and stuff. We have
sometimes weirdly specific things.
Exactly. So you and I have a lot of key memories of, like, detailed things.
Sure.
Like the kinds of board games we would play, and like
the first
turns.
time I beat you at Settlers of Catan.
Exactly. There are these first times and these only time things that we just treasure forever. But this is something slightly different. This is the first time you've ever asked me for help. Which, if you just think about the words in which she's saying that,
she actually is redundant with the way she phrases that. This is the first time you've ever asked me for help. That implies
double emphasis.
That implies that it's not just the question of factually whether it's the first time that she's been asked for help, but that there's a lot of meaning specifically to her surrounding the fact that it's the first time.
Yep, exactly. And then, of course, she says, I'll accept this request of yours, basically doubling down to be like, I will. But I like that in some ways, what she's doing here by crossing her legs, leaning back, and giving a little bit of a haughty kind of feedback to it, is that she's basically saying, I will deign to lower myself to help you. Now, that's obviously not what she's feeling here.
Right.
But she knows that Yukino is going to take it that way. So then she's like, oh, you're approaching me. Request. No, this isn't a request. I outrank you here. This is an order from an executive committee member.
So there are a couple things that I love about how this goes here, right? With how she responds, Haruno responds, right? Of the I'll answer your request. Could you pause it real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which part? Which part though?
When she says at the beginning, because like with what you're saying of her crossing the legs and leaning back and having that sort of austere kind of energy that she's giving out.
Yeah, that's who she is.
Right. Yeah. It's yes, definitely who she is. But it does a couple things.
Right.
Challenges Yukino a little bit. Right? Yeah. Which makes it so that then she can do the thing that she might want to do as a way to save face for herself of, no, but I'm not actually asking you for help here. See, this isn't a sibling thing. This is an order thing.
Right.
It's completely impersonal. It's professional.
Yep.
All that stuff. But so it's giving Yukino the way to basically keep doing things the way that she's done, but it's also giving her the opportunity to say, hey, are you comfortable saying that this is actually a thing that you're doing because, that there's some level of vulnerability that you're displaying here by asking me for help? If you want to admit that, I will let you. And, by being the heel and everything, you would be putting yourself on even more of the moral high ground, right?
Or not the moral ground, but just the power high ground, basically.
Sure,
Like basically showing that you're the dominant one in this dynamic here, and I, by giving deference to you, allow you to shape the way that it will look for everyone else.
And even
because this is not this is with other people present, and that's important to remember.
Yes, that is very important.
Yeah.
But because at the beginning she's like, "Oh yes, I'll do it. I'll do your request," right?
Yeah.
And then once Yukino basically is like, no, it's not a request, it's a command, right? Then she's like, well, what if I say no?
Yeah.
What if I say no? Are you sure you want to?
Right.
Are you sure you want to basically say that that's what this is?
Yeah. This is something that I think is a really, really good, like, this is why I think the dialogue is sometimes I think it's almost too deep, because it's not that complicated at the surface level, but my interpretations of it are things that I feel like I'm bringing a lot of bias into it. But the one that I'm specifically wanted to bring up here is that she's like rephrasing it as an order, not because it wasn't a request before, but because her sister stated that it was a request. She says, "Sis, I need your help." That is not a request or a command. It is just a sharing or an informing of information. So, for the most part, whenever you say to someone, "I need your help," you are showing a little bit of vulnerability, which a request is, in essence, some element of sharing vulnerability.
Right.
That you are being like, "I desire X from Y."
There's a way in which I or my resources are insufficient, and that you can be complementary to that.
But you can say no in every instance of a request here.
Right.
But in this case here, she had already said yes. So her entertaining the idea of saying no is ludicrous. What she's basically saying is that if you're going to reframe it that way, then, there's a possibility I could just say no. What's the penalty for that?
Because Yukino, I'm choosing to say yes because I care about you.
Right.
But if you want it to be an order, I don't have to follow your order. You don't actually have any leverage here. I've already done my performance. You can't cancel it or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love that there is still this little element of frustration coming from Haruno, because when you ask someone for help, or you tell someone that you need help, but immediately after that, you feel the need to rephrase it, to save face, and be like, no, this is an order.
Right.
That just shows your immaturity.
Oh, yeah.
It's so obvious. But what's fun about this whole thing is that there's only a couple actual fully grown adults in the room.
Sure.
Hiratsuka and Haruno in this case. And I love that this is happening in full presence of Hiratsuka sensei, because she's like, no.
Right. Hiratsuka is basically the one who's able to fully observe what's going on here.
Right.
Most of the other people, Hachiman is there, but most of the other people, right, this isn't really that much of a public discussion.
Exactly.
Even though there's all the pretense and wordplay and all of that stuff, because it is technically in public, and yet there's all this other conversation stuff going on beneath the surface. Like, it's this, good art in my mind. Whether or not a lot of the stuff is intended by the original creator or not, right? Yeah. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we're just reading into this way too much, and it's actually way simpler, right? And Haruno is just feeling like a little prickly, so she's like, well, what if I did say no, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe that's all it is.
Who knows?
But with art, you can just sometimes look at it and keep looking at it, and you keep seeing more and more things, regardless of whether they're even there or not.
Yeah, but then we have the carrot bit. And she kind of acknowledges, how you've grown, which she says kind of tersely and just kind of like straightforward. She doesn't have any like strong positive expression on her face. But then when she goes, not really, this is how I am, she perks up like, wait a minute, wait, what?
Yeah, like that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, because one of the things that siblings can do, and this is something that, just know, Jacob and I don't play poker together. Because I can always tell when he's bluffing. And he can always kind of tell. I can tell better a little bit, but that's it's debatable.
It remains to be seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When the other person is bluffing. And Yukino mentions later in the episode that she never lies. In this case here, when she says that, Haruno goes, wait a minute. She's telling the truth. Like, hold on.
New information.
New information. So she turns observant and goes, well, I need to take this in then. And she goes, did you not see that in the 17 years we've spent together? Which feels a little cold.
Sure.
A little bit of a bite for other people, maybe. Like, it maybe was a bit of a thing where she was feeling a little bit like, I'm gonna kind of make fun of you in front of other people here. Hachiman, of course, kind of chuckles at that.
Right.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah, exactly. This is the kind of person Shida Yukino is. And I almost feel like at that moment, he just was kind of reminded why he kind of likes her.
Yeah.
And it was just the thing of like, I can't let anyone see what's going on in my face right now.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a smile here.
Oh, yeah.
And I love one of the probably my favorite things about the characters in this show, because the characters can be so infuriating at times.
Yes.
But the reason why they're so enjoyable in their infuriatingness for me is because they are unbelievably stubborn, and yet we see these little changes. Tiny changes, and yet it's not something where they're completely letting go of their own weaknesses, or issues or things like that, right? They're still holding on to them, but they're also trying to. They are also changing. They're also, becoming different people and growing and all this stuff. But yet they're still so stubborn, because a lot of the times, and that's one of the reasons why like the romantic tension in the show and things like that work so well, and why I totally believe that it can go for the full 3 seasons and not lose any of that.
Right.
Because normally it's the idea of, okay, come on, I'm not sold on the idea that characters in these situations, especially in romances, are stubborn enough for it to warrant the amount of time that ends up happening, right? Usually it's just played up to, obliviousness or something like that, right? But in this case, no. Whether you're talking about romantic relationships or relationships between siblings or whatever, or relationships with themselves, right?
Sure.
These characters are aware of their own shortcomings.
Well, that's because people are always aware of their own shortcomings.
Well, yeah. A lot of times they are, and these characters are definitely aware. Like, they're not oblivious like Sagami was, until her rude awakening, right?
Oh,
Well, okay, we can talk about that in a future bit, but so they are. Damn, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, that's my bad.
It's something where basically we can see them fully struggle and do these things that in some ways totally irk us or the other characters in the series, but that's who they are. Damn it, they're not going to let go of it, but yet they still want to be better.
Yeah.
So that's so compelling to me. I love it. I love it.
And that's exemplified really primarily, I would say, in Yui. Because I would say that's the main thing about where I was kind of disagreeing with you with the thing there, is that people are always aware of their shortcomings, but most people actually don't really care to do anything about their shortcomings.
Oh, okay.
The main thing is that you're aware of them, because when you see your own shortcomings in someone else, it bugs you. It bugs the hell out of you.
Sure, even if you don't realize that it's because...
Oh, no. The reason why it bugs you isn't necessarily the case, but if someone was to point at you and go, that's your shortcoming, then you'll go, yeah, I know that. Like,
or you'd be like, why do you have to...
right, exactly. You would deny it, lie, but no, I think most...
Yeah, deep down, whether we acknowledge it to ourselves.
Exactly. There's a difference between acknowledging and accepting your flaws versus just having knowledge that they are your flaws.
Sure.
So in this case, I love that Yukino's growth is that she learned, because of, in some ways, Yui, that people need to be needed, they need to be wanted, and they need to be basically given that opportunity to do something, to be there for you. And she does that for her sister, and also in some ways does this for Hachiman, which I love that.
Yep.
So then they cheer him on. He goes out there to find Sagami, and because he's
the greatest loser there is.
Yep. He knows who he is. He loves who he is. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I love calling Zaimakuza.
Yep.
Of all the ways to bring him in to the show, that is hilarious. But also, it's just funny as hell that he spurted out like 4 options.
Right.
And one of them, the first one, essentially, I believe, as he was... They might have time skipped to him looking through all of them.
Right, but I'm guessing it was something where he's like, oh, no, that's the highest likelihood, so I'll go there first.
Yeah, he's smart. So of those 4, he's like, oh, this one makes sense. And then he finds her. He is the first one to find her, given that there was another group actively looking.
Yeah.
And I love the way that they already set up that when Hayama Hayato shows up, that he's going to be doing it differently.
Right. Yeah. Like, what was it? Hachiman's exact line of but damn it, I must be true to myself. Like you know,
yeah,
when he's trying to figure out like what he's gonna say.
Yeah. So I love that he remembers that Yukino has been doing a lot of work to be able to help Sagami with carrying out her duties as the chairman. But if I just basically do the short thing and not do actually what she wants here,
That'll
I'm gonna be.
cripple her.
I'm gonna be. Not, yeah, but it's to do with it. Felt like with him disappointing Yukino, not
right.
Sagami.
Yes.
And then the tragedy. That's just not something I'm capable of. That is such a great little dialogue bit to be like, oh God, what will I do? Like it's the thing of he doesn't care about her. He literally doesn't care about Sagami.
This is literally the cat on the counter that's like, oops,
yeah. Pushed it over. And it's just so perfect that that's the thing that kind of gets him to stutter here. And then he's saved by who should arrive, but the popular squad here.
Right, the polar opposite of him.
Yeah, exactly. And look at the way his entrance is so much different. We were really worried since we couldn't get in touch with you. I feel the...
Yeah,
even
we care about you.
Exactly, but the difference is that he starts off with I or we feel statements, but if you look back to how he brings up this whole thing here, he just goes, the ending ceremony is starting soon, go back.
Yeah.
There is nothing regarding how he cares about her.
Right. Everything that he's doing here is also confrontational. It's the
He's
I'm going to
her.
give you a fact that you can't argue with.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm going to tell you to do something. Even when Hayama comes in, or
Hayama.
Hayama, he even comes in with the spread hands, the spread open hands.
He's a naturally charismatic guy.
Yeah. Like he's doing everything right to basically be in the I will connect with you, build that rapport, and just slip in a request in there.
Yeah, and it's natural to him. But I love that how quickly Sagami just kind of goes like, well, that fact actually has flaws because it's probably just started already, so it's already too late.
I'm rejecting the facts that you are presenting before me because I'm an emotional human being and not, that's... Yeah, humans definitely don't do that.
Right. Well, she also doesn't want to help someone who's addressing her like this.
Exactly.
This is the kind of thing that gets people to clam up even more. So she kind of gives well, then just take the request and get out of here. Like, show to me that you're a heartless person, that you really don't care about me. It's just this damn paper that you want. I love this because it's, again, showing that she's in a bad way right now and that, yes, actually, it would be enough for... Hachiman alone to get the function of the festival underway, but that is not what he was sent up here to do. And I love that because that is not what he was sent up here to do, he's being like, I have to meet the expectations of those that are relying on me.
Sure.
Which is like, dude, doesn't that feel great? Like, it's tough because you're in a tough situation, but like the fact that he's willing to at least try to find some other way to do it because it's not working here. And
and
like, how long would he have thought about a way to make this work before he had come up with the anti-Hayama strategy because he was being relied on by Yukino and Yui and everyone else there?
Well, so I think he still would have done it, but it wouldn't have been...
It would have been different, though.
Well, I think it just wouldn't have been as starkly effective if Hayama wasn't there for it. Because
but then would he have done it? Then?
Well, I think he still would have. I think he still would have because that's the kind of person that he is, and everything else be damned. He's going to do this his way, right? Like that's yeah.
Gotcha. I feel like that's a thing of where it's definitely a stubbornness, but don't you think that he was primarily thinking about this as like, well, their results aren't working? And the reason why he did it that way was because this is guaranteed results. He's like, I know this will work.
Yeah, I could see that happening. The main thing that kind of because with Sagami in her situation here, this is something where basically her pride has been hurt, right? Because
she did the public speaking thing. And
did the public speaking
thing.
And it was awkward.
And
it went awfully.
That hurts.
But more importantly, it wasn't just that she did the public speaking thing and then it went horribly. It's that she realized that everyone else knew that it would go horribly.
Yeah, that was the thing I brought up.
Not necessarily that it would go in that way, she would drop the thing or whatever, but that she was not the kind of person that deserved to be up there. She was not ready to be up there. And yet, because she made a fool of herself and they entertained her her tomfoolery long enough, she was put into this position, right? So now she's up here where she can basically literally get a removed perspective from everything and just kind of think about how she feels about all this stuff. Then when Hachiman comes up and he's like, no, we need what you have in order to keep the thing going, she's basically saying, aha, so you're saying I do have power in this situation. And if that's the case, just take this and it'll be good. In other words, if that's the case, just ask me for this thing that I can decide whether to give to you or tear it up or whatever. There you go, right? Hachiman doesn't go for that. When Hayama and the friends come in, then they're coming back with the drug that she's addicted to, right? Yeah. It's the approval, we need you, etc. All of this stuff. And so of course, it's not that will get her to do what they want. Right. It's that gets her to be like, give me more, give me a bigger hit, right? Yeah. This isn't enough, right? I'm in withdrawal. I want to OD on this stuff now, right? So then Hachiman does his thing, right? Which ends up being even more effective, I would say, because it's in the midst of this return to her, her dirty needle, essentially.
Yeah, I think that the thing you were saying earlier about his stubbornness is really well exemplified here in the Yuki Noshida stuck to her beliefs and got this far doing things her way. In that case, I need to do this my own way too. Face to face, objectively, despicably, maliciously. And then right after that, they're saying like, it's all right, come back. And she's like, I'm the worst. She hasn't agreed actually to come back yet. Which
she's in fact deflecting from it.
She's still deflecting it. She is kind of wanting to maybe this is, I would say something that a lot of people who have a lazy streak, which I have one of those, is that you can end up basically causing time to be spent on things that aren't necessarily as important subconsciously, so that you end up running out of time to do the thing that you kind of are avoiding.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think what she's doing here is she is basically stalling to be like, I don't want to go back down there, because legitimately, this is not a lazy thing. This is a fear thing.
Right.
This is I am scared of going up on stage again.
Because I can't trust myself with the responsibilities that are requested of me that I asked to be put upon me.
Yep.
So now I'm doing whatever I can to keep that from happening. And so when Hachiman brings up all of this stuff, because the reason I feel like it ended up working, even though it like for a lot of the other people that witnessed this, they wouldn't have realized how much this helped or why it helped. It basically forced her to acknowledge her own frailty, right? Because she knew that the things that he was saying were right.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And then as a result of that, and the fact that she's with her friends is probably helpful, because then she can deal with that in a way.
They'll shield her.
They'll shield her so that, in some ways from her own frailty, so that she can acknowledge it and then hopefully work on it in her own time and in her own way.
It's no one else's business when you solve your own problems.
Exactly.
Unless your problem is like literally hurting other people, and I mean like literally hurting them, then it's not even a thing of where they're going to help you solve your problem. They're just going to protect themselves enough to where you can't hurt them anymore, i.e. you get thrown out of the situation, regardless of what that is. If you're,
Right. But then as a result of her acknowledging her own frailty in this regard, then she's able to actually go on the stage and do the thing. Even though she
was still nervous.
Even though she was still nervous, still scared and everything, she acknowledged to herself, because of Hachiman, that's right. This is a state that I am in, and as a result of that, she kind of accepted it.
So, this is the difference between knowing and acknowledging and accepting that we were talking about earlier, right? That she knew this was her problem.
Right. But she wouldn't acknowledge it, and that's why she surrounded herself with the people that would, help cover it up.
Right. However, what ended up happening here was that her friends ended up basically covering for her and escorting her away from the situation because this guy was being malicious. That is the main way in which he's able to conjure up these specific words and bite and have them bite so well is that the intent is malicious.
Right.
And that is something that needs to be acknowledged, is that the malicious aspect of this is not meant to help her. It is meant to get her out of here so that she can do the thing that she's supposed to do. But given that her friends kind of went and kind of protected her and stuff there, it was basically a thing in where they were forced to set up an environment to where they could be the heroes and let her know at some point in the future, hey, we're here for you. Because they're not stupid. They're going to hear this kind of stuff and go, yeah, she kind of is like that sometimes. But they're going to be there to be like, hey, you're you, and we like you for who you are.
Right.
Flaws and all. But, like, if you ever need help to talk about anything or anything like that, they'll be there.
Right.
So I really feel like he was doing this primarily just to be super effective with regards to the immediate situation. But the way in which it set up the friends was potentially something that he was aware of.
Yeah, and I'm actually not entirely sure, now that I think about it, whether this will be something that is more effective because of her friends being there, or even potentially less effective, because and I think a lot of it will be based on just what Sagami decides after this, right? But in this situation, one of the reasons that the friends being there to help cushion the blows was even needed in my mind is because now she has an audience. When it was just the two of them, she didn't really have to save face because she doesn't give a shit about this kid, right?
He hadn't torn into her yet.
Oh no, right. But even if he had said those things, right, it would just be the thing of you're the school loser, right?
Just flipped him the bird and
flipped him the bird. Even if even if this stuff does get to me, even if I say things in front of you, no one will believe you over me if I deny the things that you say happened here, right?
Yeah.
So she's safe in that regard.
Yeah.
But then once her friends come in, then it's something where she actually cares that her weaknesses are being laid bare in front of everyone.
Yeah, I'm with you. But the fact that this is also something where she kind of just seized up with the whole thing is something that I would say maybe shows that she was dealing with a lot of fear earlier now. So if anything, this just compounded it to the point where she was unable to really do much to defend herself.
Sure.
And I don't know really if that experience would have been different if she was alone.
Right. And in what way would it be different?
Yeah. So Hayama, though, being in this unique setup here, actually physically like dominates the situation and ends the verbal onslaught.
Right. Stop talking. Yeah.
I really, really have grown to respect Hayato a lot more over the course of the show.
That was some Shiro stuff in my mind. Like just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right.
Oh my God, you are so correct and right.
Because
wow.
It's one of the ways that Hachiman as a protagonist can be really entertaining because of what he does in the story, and yet not be someone that you look up to or would want to be like, right?
Yeah,
because,
you can see parts of yourself in him at times, but it's like
right, exactly, and it's a fun exploration of sort of social interactions in the human psyche and things like that, because the stuff that he does work, and it makes sense that it works, but that's not necessarily something that any of us would want to do.
Yeah,
right.
I also love that the friends were so uninvolved with the committee stuff. They don't even know who he is, even though he was involved with all the things there.
Yeah,
meaning that that was just his own thing. But also, I want to bring up this: the way Hayama says, "Why is that the only way you know how to do things?" Because he was there during the summer break.
Yep.
He remembers how everything went down and stuff.
He was an integral part of it.
He was in the plan.
Right.
The thing that's interesting there is that he's not actually debating whether or not what he did was effective.
Right.
He is questioning, buddy, why is it that you have to do it this way?
And it's not even so much a true question as it is an accusation.
It is.
He's basically accusing Hachiman of being like, you're convinced that this is the only way to do things, and I'm telling you it's not. That's sort of the subtext of it, right?
But he's also saying,
I can't deny that it's effective, right?
But I think it's the you part here.
Oh.
It's not saying this is why do you think this is the only way to do things? He's just saying, why is that the only way you know how to do things? So there's a judgment accusation in that he is saying, this is the only thing that you know how to do, but why is that? Which, by asking it as a question and framing it as an accusation, he's basically saying, you can choose how to respond to this. You can respond to this by saying...
I'm not even going to be listening to the response. I won't be here. Yeah.
Right. Which is saying you need to think about this. Is this the truth that it's the only way you know how to do things? One, no, it's not true.
Right.
Because there's obviously other ways you can do it. They just might not be effective.
Well,
he doesn't like them.
It's the one that Hachiman is the most familiar with.
Exactly. And then second thing is that basically it gives him the opportunity to just go, why? Like, we are such pattern matching beings, human beings. We instantly answer these kinds of questions ourselves and then throw away the answer because it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's not nice to look at.
It's not nice to look at. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and even with Hayama, he asks this question and then he leaves. I think one of the reasons that he doesn't stick around is not just because he doesn't want to hear it because it doesn't matter to him, but because he actually doesn't want to hear it.
Oh yeah.
So
I agree.
And not because it'll be something that he will disagree with, but because it'll be something that he won't. Hayama and Hachiman, the way Hachiman thinks about Hayama, especially when he was introduced and everything, is that you are the exemplification of the people that basically made my life hell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yes, you can do these kinds of approaches. You can do your approach where you come in, open hands and everything, and it's all good, and they're very, very responsive to what you do. But I don't get to do that.
Nope.
And because Hayama phrases it in that way, he's acknowledging a truth that Hachiman, it's still that way because you decide it's that way. You could change if you wanted to.
It would be painful.
It would be painful and hard and difficult and long and a long process, but you could. But then it's also the thing of I don't want to hear your response because,
I think I'm kind of angry at you, and I want to leave you with this right now.
Well, but I'm also maybe potentially could get a little bit angry at myself that if there were people like this before or in earlier points of my life, I didn't notice it, do anything about it, whatever. And this is maybe me reading into things, but
I kind of like it though.
But Hayama takes more of an interest in Hachiman than in Hachiman specifically than even most any of his friends.
Yeah.
And certainly he doesn't have any other friends in a similar social status to Hachiman.
Yeah, because of the way that Hachiman helped him
in
the situation before.
Exactly.
And at that time, Hayama said, do you think if we went to the same junior high, we would be friends right now?
Yeah.
And he was just like, hell no. Like,
Right.
And it was probably one of those things of where Hayama was like, shit, I was actually pretty excited to be a friend with you because I sensed something genuine and something that was something that wasn't fake. It was a little bit raw and kind of gross at times, but I think he's disappointed basically, and at times like this it just reaffirms it. He's like, I want to be your friend, buddy, but you make it so damn hard.
Right. And
God, that's my God.
And
I think you're bang on right with this, Jacob.
Yeah, and because So
so good.
I love every time that he's basically on screen because since he's like, there was a joke about foils being brought up, and it's true. He is your foil and you're his foil. So the fact that we have a character like this, that's such a good foil for the main character.
Yeah.
I love because very quickly, Hayama doesn't need to be on screen long. But in these short little scenes, we're able to instantly get all of this emotion and context and everything because they react in such strong ways to each other. And then, of course, it's just interpreted as BL by Ebina.
Ebina, yeah. I also just gotta say, like, before we go into the more discussion bits, stuff like that, thank you so much for giving us a school band performance and stuff with our main characters.
Yes, and having Yui be the lead singer and everything. That was awesome. Yep.
I liked also that in the Friends situation where they were like, wow, the Hikitani, they still calling him by the wrong name.
Yep.
Because the nickname just stuck, I guess.
Right.
Even though they don't care to confirm it and stuff.
And Hayama's probably aware of that. It's like, they're still not even using his actual name.
Right. But then what I loved here was that Hayama just kind of goes, well, he is a little foul-mouthed, but he doesn't actually like join in with it all the way.
Oh yeah, he's so just crestfallen.
Yeah, just disappointed.
Yep.
Zaimakuza, like, while everyone else kind of waves goodbye to him and stuff, he kind of goes, Zaimakuza gives him like a, what is he?
Like a knowing look of like, well done. Yeah.
And it's just like, and he just kind of looks like
he's his sensei or something that's like, yes, young grasshopper, you've learned well. And
then, of course, Haruno knows about the heel shtick, but then Hiratsuka.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like Haruno with the heel thing, that was fantastic. I love that little interaction there. But Hiratsuka, man.
Oh my god.
Like,
she's being like the best big sister here. Hikigaya. Helping someone out is not a justifiable reason for you getting hurt.
There is so much pain in her eyes there. Like,
well, that's empathy.
Right.
When you empathize with someone's pain, you feel that pain. But it's the thing of where it's like, this is how you know it's genuine empathy, is that she looks hurt.
Yep.
Because she's like, I can see how much it hurts you to do this, and yet you really feel like it's the only way you can help someone.
The person who regularly punches you in the gut is telling you that this is hurting you. Like, and it's hurting them,
it's hurting them by proxy, yes. And I just love it because it's something that you see how quickly he does the deflect of, well, it's
I'm not
like
really getting hurt,
quote unquote.
And then she snaps
right back with just it doesn't matter if you're used to the pain. God.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people that need to hear this. This is such a strong, good message for an anime to have.
Oh yeah.
The idea that when you help someone, you shouldn't actually be demanded to sacrifice something like really, really awful or painful or whatever. I'm saying the wrong words here, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She said it perfectly and simply.
There's wonderful poetry in the stories where the hero makes the crazy sacrifice, but the reality of the situation is that
you need to take care of you.
You need to take care of you.
Yes.
Two, oftentimes you won't even get the chance to make those sacrifices. So
stop glorifying it. You're not a paladin, Yukino.
Right, exactly. Thinking you'll jump on the grenade when you're not going to be in an actual battle, right? And take care of yourself. Yeah,
it's the thing of where just because you're facing persecution for the things that you're saying doesn't mean you're saying the truth. Well, doesn't mean you're being helpful. Or doesn't mean, if anything, that they're automatically the enemy. The problem might be with you.
There was a meme I saw going around where it was like, going to see the doctor, and the doctor's like, "You feeling any pain?" And it's like, "Oh no, just the normal amount." And they're like, "The normal amount's 0." And it's like, oh, shit. Right? like that's Hachiman here. I feel like.
2020. But in all seriousness, like that's the case, is that you are building up your own tolerance for a specific amount of pain.
And to the degree that you care about yourself, you can't allow this kind of stuff to happen, because then it'll just become your new status quo. And Hachiman, I know that you have gotten to the point where you've accepted the fact that you're in this state as a way to cope with the pain from the fact that you're
effective in that.
You're a functioning alcoholic.
Yes.
Right? And it may have been something where originally you went there to cope, right? Because because of how people treated you and everything.
Now you have some friends, everything's going
now you have some friends,
and you're changing.
Right. And you're doing good in this state, but do you need to be in that state?
You
don't. You don't. And and god damn it, that's why Yui is my favorite character. Because she's the one that I feel like addresses that the most directly, right? Yeah.
It's because while Yukino and, Hachiman are similar in a lot of ways, their problem is being addressed in very different ways.
Because, like, Yukino and Hachiman are, and I might have said this in, like, the very previous discussion, but that they're both very effective at what they do even within the confines of their own flaws.
Right.
Yui less so.
Yes.
Right? Her flaws cause a lot more direct trouble,
most.
so that's why she's being forced to change the most, right? And the earliest and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing. It's again the whole anime thing of the sort of the edgy protagonist where it's the dark side that's eating me up inside, but I push through it. No. What if you just didn't have that? What if you don't need to have that?
Yeah, and
so
the issue is that the pain associated with continuing on in this case makes it actually like not that big of a deal because you're used to that pain. But if you change things, that's pain you're not used to.
Right. Pain,
which means that maybe it's not worth it. So I understand Hachiman. I understand why you're like not wanting to do anything with this there. But I love that right at the point where she was starting to hit really close to home, she does the opposite essentially of what Hachiman did up on the balcony. And she says, you do well to realize that there are people who get upset when they see you hurt. And then she puts her hands on his shoulders in like a reassuring way and saying, and that's the end of the lecture. Basically saying like, I don't need to berate you. Right. I have no urgency with how quickly you pick this up. I'm here for you. That's all.
I'm here for you. And I know you're a smart boy and everything. So I'm going to give you this because I know that you're already aware enough of this, even if you're not addressing it, that I don't need to convince you of this. I'm just giving you this reminder, letting you know, and then I move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene alone made Hiratsuka go up quite a bit in my list of in my ratings of the characters.
I also gotta say, this is a weird little. There's the loopy animation for the looping animation for the performance and stuff, but the way he blurted out thanks. Yeah. In the most like basic animation as well, just like a little blip. It made me think that it was like something that he was like, I could barely get this out.
It's so hesitant. It's like that.
Like, look at that. Thanks. He's like hiccuped, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like, was it that hard? Because she was actually saying something that was really kind and really understanding. And he's like, this is why I come back to your punches, or your office, even despite getting kicked or punched all the time.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And then there's the scene with Yukino and Yui and everything in the room, and I love this because it's God. Like this room both feels like it's something. The fact that there's able to be this strong of an association within me for a club room at a school is impressive because I've only really had that happen in like one other show where the room itself seemed to take on like this personality of its own, because this room feels like it's both the place where they go to be stagnant.
Safe.
Well, yeah, to be safe.
Stagnant, yeah.
But it's also the place that they go to grow, right? It's this thing where Hachiman goes back here because he's not wanting to really address the things about him that are uncomfortable, right? That people have, sort of pointed out to him a little bit, right?
Right. It's a place of safety.
Right. Yeah, a place of safety.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, what could potentially become a crutch is also where he's able to have these other awesome people there that help and maybe poke at him just enough so that within this place of safety, he's able to grow.
Yeah, Maybe.
Well, what's your take on it?
I feel like I'm just going to hold myself back here a little bit because I want to talk about something else, but I'm going to save my thoughts on that for another time because I'm. I think that one of the things that's really tough about looking at a lot of these characters here, is that people don't just decide I'm going to grow.
Right. That's
It's just not how people think.
If you are able to decide to just change, then that means without anything else to sort of also force you to change, you could argue that you're not really changing because that's something that you were already capable of doing.
Yeah. And it also is just something that is so antithetical to his even philosophy about the whole just change yourself and you'll change the world. Like it's just literally something he disagrees with. Yep. So I have issue with the idea that it would be phrased that way, but I get what you're getting at.
That's not how he sees this place, right?
or why he comes here.
Or why? Well.
No, that's my point. Is that the reason why he comes here? I think is because this is now a place of actual safety. He feels comfortable here. The way he talks about their interactions and stuff as being fresh, as being like this this breath of fresh air, like this thing that he can just like, this is so relaxing and just nice. It's that he just doesn't get this anywhere else. It's in some ways it's keeping him like exactly where he needs to be. He doesn't need to change in this space.
Okay.
He doesn't need to adapt or he doesn't even need to play up his own act.
Sure.
He can he can just be.
Right.
It's like a feeling of home.
Yeah, you know? yeah. Okay, yeah, I love it. Yep. That's a great way of saying it. And it's something where he didn't always feel this way about this room.
No.
Right? Or the people in this room.
That's the part where he has changed because of the interactions in this room. Yeah.
Like the fact that like this interaction, it's great to see that Yukino's like smiling and like that sort of
she's enjoying this,
right? Showing how their dynamic between the two of them has changed, but with what each of them individually brings to the table, they actually don't do that much in this interaction, I feel like. But if you look at it compared to a lot of their earlier interactions in the season, even in this room, there were so many walls that they would put up, right? Things that they would specifically inject into the environment, the conversation, the connection, in order to make sure that it did go a certain way or didn't go in certain ways.
Yeah.
And now that's just sort of not there.
Right. And then this bit here. Do you think they were kind of saying things without saying it? Because he's going to ask, will you? And she goes, no. And he's like, I didn't even say anything yet. And then she says, I believe I said this before. I can't be friends with you. It's impossible. Now, I want to bring up the idea that while this could have been a stilted or stunted love confession here of some kind, the idea where he goes, oh, really? And she goes, yes, really. And then he goes, well, you can lie if you want. Now, what he's bringing up here is the initial lie regarding the fact of what they have in their past together.
Yes.
That he still blames her for. And then the way she responds here after he says, I lie a lot too.
Yeah, even giving her the opening of...
it's no big deal to say you don't know someone when you actually do. Now he's directly calling up the thing here with regards to that. And then he goes, it'd be weirder for me to press the issue. And she's like, she's just not talking. She's just listening. And then she goes, oh, I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
And
I
really didn't know you. And that's the point. Is that, yes, it was awkward. It was a thing of where I did see that it was the same person that we hit in the car there when you came into the club room here.
Right.
But I didn't know you. And what she's saying there is that what he basically brings up here, or she does, and she goes, but I know you now, like kind of with the wink and stuff, which I really do think is probably one of the most just genuine moments we've seen with her, is where she's like, no, I don't lie. I'm serious. I didn't know you, and now I do. Meaning like, after kind of seeing a little bits of your behavior and the things that you do and stuff like that, I know you and I accept you. Like, I actually... And he blushes, kind of in that thing of, oh, you do know me?
Yeah, and then it's the,
She's like, yes, really.
And he's in that whole thing of the, well, I may be thin, I may be thin-headed, but
like his kokoro went.
Yep.
And then of course they pull back slowly on this just to let it settle and us breathe in what's happening here. And then hello,
Yui comes in.
Oh
yeah, it's
in some ways I kind of was like, Yui, get the fuck out of here! Like, go, get out of here!
Well, okay,
like,
so
he's about to say something like really vulnerable and wholesome, but no, we have Yui being like, hey, remember, I'm a third person here in this group, and I am the glue that is keeping it all like really, really structured and well, not structured, but just still going.
Right. So there was something that I want to go into a little bit. When she said I could never be friends with you,
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, lie if you want. And she's like, I don't lie, right? And then from there, it goes to the whole thing of the lie that she did say of that she didn't know him before.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
But it doesn't address the thing that she said that was,
Okay.
accused to be a lie, that she could never be friends with you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my teen romantic comedy snafu. Because she wasn't lying, Hachiman. She could never be friends with you. Yep. If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention, because...
But if you think all three of these characters aren't gonna change a lot,
they will,
over the course of
and
this
it's
show,
fantastic. Yes,
you can do what you can to slander my team for the sake of yours.
No. I'm not saying this to slander your team. I'm saying that because there can only be one. This isn't Domestic Girlfriend. It's not something where we could be like, but could it end in a three-way? Like that's not how this works here, right? So now, granted, the characters are going to change and grow and all that stuff. So that across all the pain and turbulence and crazy things that happen, and however it ends up, they're still going to be awesome. They're going to grow up and it's going to be wonderful. But in this situation, with Yui in the previous episode basically saying, yeah, I know you're a baka, but I'm going to keep going. And then Yukino here saying, I never lie, and I'm telling you, I could never be friends with you.
Yeah. There's a lot of technicalities. Yeah, I know.
Yup.
But still. I never lie is just, that's a lie. I'm sorry. It's just, you may think you're a paladin, Yukino. You may think you're a paladin.
What she said was true from a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view, yes. But okay. Hold on. So I don't want to go off here. But one of the things that irks me to no end about this type of character in real life
is that they lie to themselves.
Is that they are constantly lying to themselves. And the act of saying, I speak no falsehoods. I only speak that which is correct.
The arrogance!
The audacity!
Right.
Like, one of my favorite recent YouTubers just has this line, the audacity! Like, it's just, like, that's exactly what channels through my mind when someone says, I never lie. One of my harshest things I understood growing up. And I hate that for some reason I can't just move on from this, but it is an active, like, Hachiman aspect of me, is that I assume everyone is lying. And I mean without their own knowledge. And I've had debates with the people that are correct all the time that say, no, a lie denotes intent. A lie is basically, something that they are intentionally trying to mislead you.
Right, because someone could be just ignorant of a particular fact or something like that, and they say something. But the idea that the human heart is a tricksy little devil.
Exactly.
And
you cannot trust yourself. I'm sorry. You will have thoughts, feelings, and all kinds of stuff that are just going to come at you that are not correct, right, or even yours.
You might try and say that you just know what you know, but you don't know what you know. It's not that you don't know what you don't know. It's that there are things you know that you don't know that you know.
Thank you. So when people say I never lie, I'm like, all right, I understand that this is where this character's flaw is, and I love that this is their flaw. In real life, though, that kind of attitude is just
drives you crazy.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
Well, see, here's the reason why I love it is because it's something where
in real life.
Yes, both actually. No. Here's why. Here's why. No, because I know what you're saying. Right?
I know you, Jacob.
No. I know, and it does bother me. It does absolutely bother me. But
yeah,
I am one of those people.
Are you about to call a technicality on me?
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm not sure.
You are.
I'm not sure.
You are.
Well, hold on.
You're doing the actually.
No.
Oh my God.
Hold on.
All right.
I love gall. I love
Okay, yeah.
I love it when people have the
Early
audacity.
France has a lot of really cool fighters and warriors from that time. And
Yes,
it did hold back
Asterix
the Roman
is a
Empire.
funny comic, but
Yeah.
But I love it when people have the audacity to put forth something that is just definitely not true.
And they state it with conviction, thus giving them impetus to make change.
Right. Because exactly.
Yeah, you are definitely an IoT
now. Yes. Now, the caveat to that is that there needs to be the acknowledgement within the individual that what they are saying is that they have a pair of stones to try and assert something like that, right?
Well,
because the
point isn't whether or not they're right.
Right. Because they're obviously not right.
Right. Yes. Except in this case, this character believes that they're right,
and so she has to grow in that regard.
Yeah, that's the thing there.
Right.
Yeah.
But it stems from the fact that she is the kind of person where even if she realizes, and I think we've seen enough of Yukino that even if she truly believes that she doesn't lie,
right,
that we know that there is enough doubt underneath that armored surface of the paladin,
100%.
That I'm not too worried on that regard, and yet she will still say, "God damn it, to hell with reality." This is what I decide, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that's something that makes her a force to be reckoned with, and I think it makes her also quite attractive to Hachiman.
Sure.
I think that is something that inspired him to continue to be the heel in that situation with Sagami.
Yes.
I just want to say that in real life, this kind of person, when they're an adult, oh God, like it is so aggravating. And that the funny thing is that I'm saying this because as an adult, this is one of the areas I struggle with the most, is accepting when I'm wrong about something. And it is something where I have to almost in some ways remind myself that I can end up lying without intending to because of a lie I'm telling myself. And that is something that I am very excited to see that they address within Yukino, because Yukino is lying to herself in this way here. Yes. Although we'll just have to see exactly how details little spiderweb thing.
Okay, so I think I can sum up better my views on this
Your angle, yes.
my angle on this,
Yes.
right? So, what is a lie? When you say something that just ain't true, right? Especially if you know it ain't true. Now, here's the thing. What if you say something that you know ain't true yet? But then what if you make it true? When we always what if, and that's I think where a lot of Yukino's strength comes from. Now, you need to acknowledge that there is some changing that needs to happen because that is not the state that it is currently, right?
Yeah.
But
I will just say, Kamina is not realistic. Kamina
would bug the shit out of you.
Kamina
and me, yeah.
Kamina would not pierce the heavens with his drill, and neither would his brother.
There's some things I want to say about that.
I know,
regardless, but yeah,
I know. I'm just saying that this is the kind of thing where it is very childlike to make the kind of I will do the thing. Which is something I don't believe in even fully, but I'm saying it to make myself believe in something, is not the kind of lying to myself I'm talking about. If you have to state it out loud,
then you're already
trying to convince yourself that you believe it. Most of the lies that you tell yourself are quiet.
They
are not going to be broadcasted out loud.
Yep. And that's why the interaction with Sagami I think was so important, because those were a bunch of quiet lies that she had told herself, and her friends, because they were going to use soft language and everything, that she still wouldn't end up realizing it, right? And that's why what Hachiman did was so effective in my mind. Yeah.
And yet,
there's still an episode left in this season.
Yui comes in, tries to set things towards them going on the party and stuff because she wants to spend time with them. Damn it! And they're all doing this stuff. But hey, she's gonna hang out with them while they do their stuff there, and then we've kind of re-achieved the status quo.
Exactly.
And then Hachiman starts monologuing in his head, and goes into this There's never a reset button for life. Yeah, I feel you, bro. Even this pointless chapter I'm living right now, and while is one I'll someday lose, is one I'll eventually lose, and while thinking I'll someday surely lament losing it, what does he say? And then he goes to write.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And thus his, her, and her teenage lives stay effed up. Yep. Yep. I love this show.
This show's really good.
I love this show.
This show's really good. But y'all,
that was a discussion. That was a thing. This is an episode in the show, and thanks for sticking around.
If you stuck around to the end of this episode's reaction discussion thing here, leave us some kind of comment regarding your thoughts and opinions regarding the concept of lying. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. I'll see if there's some way we can have a comment or two passed our way that does that. And if you see a comment on this topic and stuff that isn't one that you necessarily agree with 100%, but you see it as being rather insightful or interesting, leave a reply. Be civil, guys. Be civil out there.
Definitely.
And like it so that it gets pushed to the top of the comments in general.
Yeah. A hypocrite might just be someone in the process of changing.
That's true. That's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. All this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yeah, so we stream Monday through Friday. There's a lot of information for it and stuff. It's in the description. Go check it out. But for the gaming stuff, Caleb, you're playing.
I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, and then I'm playing Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.